Hello, this is a video about how to make a car with a maker pen, with this pen here. It turns out that making cars is anything but trivial, and the way I came up with is probably not the best way, but it kind of works. But there are a couple of tricks that I need to explain, so let's go for it. And so we make a custom room, create one, anyone with a sandbox machine. And then we start sandbox machine,
mode engaged.
go to creative and go to the last item. And if you go the other way, we get the first item here to get a maker pen. So before making the actual car, I wanted to explain a few things about the maker pen. So this is going to be some kind of prototyping the car. So the idea is we have two tires, so one tire, another tire, and an axis. And you might, take one tire, put it to the axis, put the other tire, put it to the axis, and then you might think this is a nice axis with two tires, but it turns out that if you do the physics simulation, it collides only with the root object, right? So in this case, the axis and the kind of wheels or tires go into the ground, and that's not what you want. You want to have the tires also collide with the ground. So that doesn't really work well. You can stick it together in different ways. Oops, that's my tire. You could do something like, again, one tire, another tire, and an axis. So you could stick the axis to this tire, and then the whole thing, maybe this whole thing now to this one, and now this didn't stick. I have to select the tire because it's the root object now. So if I do this, then this tire becomes the root object, and then it's even worse because then it looks like this, right? It's again only the root object which actually collides with anything. So this is not a working solution for an axis. So the solution to all this is then that you have to create this axis with tires in one go, right? So without picking up anything and without dropping the maker pen, you make the two tires and put the axis in there, and then you pick it up, and then it behaves like it should behave. There's another problem now. If you have some kind of single object now, because we made it in one go, it's what I call a single 3D object. If you just throw this away, let it rest for a while, and think about its existence, then it will come to the conclusion that it has no reason to exist, and then it will just go away. And so we can wait a bit, and there it goes. Right, and that's a problem with these single objects. The solution to it is we make the two tires, put the thing into it, pick it, and now we attach it to something, or attach something to it. So we could make, for example, a little sphere, attach it here, select the whole thing, and this one, pick the one. This one now doesn't disappear. So anything, if you attach it to anything, or or it's attached to anything, or something is attached to it, it won't disappear. Usually, unless you run into a glitch or bug, then it will disappear also. but usually it stays, which is good. So that's how we make the axes and the tires. So one, another one, and then the problem that we have is the chassis. I'm gonna put these into it. Did I? Oh. Actually, and the chassis is a problem because if I just make if I just make a chassis, something like this, then how do I put this stuff into it? Right? I mean, because if you usually the one problem is they stick together. Now they didn't, right? So they are still independent, which is what I want to have. But then if I pick this up, there's always a big chance that it kind of sticks together, and now it didn't, but it stick to the ground. And you can make it with a lot of patience, make it work for one axis, and like this. But then putting the second axis into the other hole is like terribly difficult. And it's it's manageable with these small models, but then on a larger scale, it's not working. So the method I came up with is the following. So you put this here, you put this other thing next to it, and make sure that it's both kind of not in contact with anything, not attached to anything. And then you need a little something, and keep that aside for later. And that will become clear maybe later on. And then you build the chassis around it. Again, without dropping the maker pen and without picking up anything of these things. If I now drop the maker pen, this green stuff will become an object. Maybe I should just do this. And now it's like it should be, right? So the wheels can rotate, even it works fine. The problem we have is that this green stuff, again, is a single object. It will disappear if you are not next to it, or at some point it will disappear. And that is a problem. And now we could solve it by sticking something into it, but for that we would have to like pick it up and stick it somewhere. But as soon as I pick this up and stick it somewhere, the wheels would again be attached to it usually. And if I try to put this in, first it's difficult, and second, it actually worked. Yeah. But with the larger model, it's super difficult to make this work. So the solution that I'm going to show you later on with the larger object is the following. So again, we have these two. We put them in there, and then we do the chassis. Something like this. Then we don't drop the maker pen, we don't pick it up. Just take this and attach it to this object. And then we drop the maker pen. And that hopefully does the trick, that the wheels are still movable relative to each other, and we have a compound composite object. This here, you see that this is the root object, it's everything, and then this is a child of the root object. So it's put together, and because it has something in it, it doesn't disappear, like this doesn't disappear. Yeah, so that's what we're going to make. And then there are a few more tricks how to edit all this stuff that we will look at. So let's get to work. I'm going to use cylinders for the tires, but it's a good idea to start with some kind of rod thing. That's basically just for reference. Oops, I put it into the ground, just so that I know where I start with the sphere, with the cylinder. And then I'll start here somewhere, make a tire of some height, and it should be as round as you can get it. And then another tire. I can try to make it as round and as symmetric as possible, because we have to do it in one go. We cannot clone it, and then we have to find the center of this thing. I don't know. This is not very centered. Hopefully that's good enough. So, yeah, this is. Oh well. So then we can pick it up and, yeah, it does roll, but yeah. Well, let's try it with this very individual car, I guess. So we clone this. Let me put this into the ground first. And if you have, like in this case, very asymmetric things, then it makes sense to kind of flip it and have it left and right interchanged. So, meaning that I should turn this around here. And they should be not too close to each other. Yeah, also because in order for them not to disappear, we need these attach something to it. So I make a small sphere, put it in here, and do the same thing here. Oops. Oh. So, yes. And then we built the chassis around it. This is, I don't know if this is going to work. Let's try. So I'm going to use boxes for this. And yeah, we remember that you need an object, and I'm going to use this rod thing for doing that. Later to attach it to the chassis so that it doesn't disappear. So, yes. So the maker pen can collide with this other stuff, so be careful not to collide with stuff. And then again, you have to do it in one go. In order for the correct collisions. At least that's the safest thing. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I want to do something that looks remotely like a car. I don't know. But I don't want to take too much time. maybe a little van. And then we need a driver, I guess. And again, don't pick anything up, and don't drop the maker pen. I think a wheel might be nice. And then some hands, arms. This is 20 arms. And then maybe, oops, the head is a bit large. The head is very large. One interesting thing about delete is that you can even if you haven't made them into objects, you can still delete the shapes. That's better. Oops. Anyway, so that's our driver. I think this. I think another box here. So, okay. Yes, and we need that's just one object, right? This thing. So in order to avoid that it disappears, we have to stick something into it. So you need something that's better ready. So I just put this in here to make it into a composite object. And then I can drop the maker pen, and it just falls into place. And it collides correctly. This is funny. Yeah, I don't know if this can actually go anywhere, but maybe. Yes, so you could kind of push it, right? But maybe that's not the best way. Another way is just to take a weapon and shoot it. Maybe I shouldn't drop the maker pen. Sometimes things disappear if you shoot the maker pen. And then you can have fun with your car. And you know, turning is a bit difficult. Oh, maybe if I shoot the wheels, it goes better. Yeah, and that's how to make a car with the maker pen. Yeah, let me know in the comments whether you have any questions and you know, anything that I should clarify. But it's actually quite fun. Can I do this? It seems to be stuck. I think I'll keep playing a bit. Yeah, okay. Where's my makeup pen? Yeah, it's still there. Okay, I should stop. See you next time. Bye bye.